Welcome to Bible Time with Aunt Kat. You may notice we're in a different setting than what we usually have. I'm not in my rocker. I'm in my kitchen because we're going to do a couple of things that could get a little messy. So I just thought it was best to be in here. And I like to sit around the table with my friends and talk about the Bible anyway. So this is a good place to be. I saw something the other day on the news that I thought was so cool. It was about a man who had been to every football game that his high school team had ever played for 79 years. Yeah, 79 years. He had been to every single game. Even when he had been in a wreck in the middle of a thunderstorm and broke 11 bones and punctured his lung and got struck by lightning. A couple weeks later, he was still at that ball game. And he goes to the baseball games, the football games, all of those things. He happens to be 93 years old, and he does this out of kindness and thoughtfulness for all the young people that are in the school, some of whom don't have parents or whose parents don't attend those things. And his kindness and his willingness to do what he could, even though he was at 93, made me think of someone else in the Bible that you may not be familiar with. And he's a man called Barzillai. I usually say Barzillai, but I did check and it's supposed to be pronounced Barzillai. So either way I say it, you'll know what I'm talking about. We learn about Barzillai in God's Word, the Bible, and I have my Bible right here. It tells us all that we need to know about God, and every single word in it is true because God never lies, does he? And all of these people that lived in that it tells about are real people that really lived a long time ago. So these aren't made up stories. They're real stories, real people. And we're going to learn about Barzillai today. But first we have to go back and talk a little bit about King David. You probably have heard of King David. He was king over Israel, and King David loved the Lord very much, and he did his best to serve him. But his son Absalom wasn't like that at all. He did really wicked things. In fact, he wanted to be king so bad that he chased his dad away, and King David had to run and hide to keep his own son from killing him because he wanted to be king that much. Well, of course, this broke King David's heart, but he ran away, and he didn't have the things that he needed. His army went with him, and people that loved him went with him, and he didn't have enough food for all of them or all the things they needed. But Barzillai and two other men came to him, and the Bible tells us in 2 Samuel chapter 17, verse 27, it says, "Now when David had come to Mahanaim, Shobai the son of Nahash from Rabbah of the sons of Ammon, Machir the son of Amiel from Lo-debar, and Barzillai the Gileadite from Rogelim brought beds, basins, pottery, wheat, barley, flour, parched grain, beans, lentils, parched seeds, honey, curds, sheep, and cheese of the herd for David and for the people who were with him to eat. For they said, the people are hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. If you hear that, woof, that's my doggy, Kirby. He's watching the birds out the door. So he brought all these things to King David to help him to have enough to take care of the people. And he was a fairly well-to-do man to have all that stuff. So he helped take care of King David. And after a while, Absalom was killed. And King David was able to go back to Jerusalem, to his home again. So Barzillai went with him, and they got to the Jordan River and got ready to cross. And King David told Barzillai, why don't you come and go with me, and I will take care of you, because he was 80 years old. He wasn't a young man. So at 80 years old, King David said, I will take care of you. You can eat at my table with me. You can live with me the rest of your days. And you know, Barzillai said, I don't want to be a burden to you. I'm 80. I can't hear anything anymore. I can't taste food very well anymore. I just would like to go home and spend the rest of my days at home and die there. But if you want to do something, I will go with you and cross over the river and stay a while. But if you want to do something, you could take your servant Chimham, or Chimham. It's, let me find it here. There's Mephibosheth, and okay, chapter 19 of 2 Samuel, and in verse 37. Please let your servant return, that I may die in my own city near the grave of my father and my mother. However, here is your servant Chimham. Let him cross over with my lord the king, and do for him whatever is good in your sight. If you want to take Chimham with you, you can take him and just do whatever you want to do. And most people think Chimham was one of Barzillai's sons, maybe his youngest son. So the king said, Chimham will cross over with me, and I will do for him what is good in your sight, whatever you want. So he took Chimham, and Barzillai went with King David, and he crossed over the Jordan River with him. And then he went to the king, and the king kissed Barzillai and told him goodbye, and Barzillai went home. But the king took Chimham with him and took care of him, and he ate at his table. And he even told his son, whenever he was getting ready to die, he told his other son, Solomon, who was about to become king. In 1 Kings 2, verse 7, he said, show kindness to the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table, for they assisted me when I fled from Absalom your brother. So Barzillai's kindness to King David not only helped King David, but it helped Barzillai's son, or whoever Chimham was. And then from there on, in fact, Barzillai was such a wonderful man that when his daughter got married, her husband, whose name I believe was Haycock, he changed his own name to Barzillai. So he must have been a pretty special man for his son-in-law to want to carry his name. But just think about all the good he did. He didn't know that King David would want to repay him. He didn't know that King David would take Chimham with him and that Chimham would get to live there with the king and be blessed like he was. He was just doing what he thought was right and good. And that's what kindness is like. Realize kindness to King David made me think of a verse in the book of Hebrews, which is in the New Testament. And it's in Hebrews 13, verse 16. And this is the verse I want us to learn. It says, "And do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is pleased." And that's in Hebrews 13, verse 16. Now, what does that mean? It means to be on the lookout for things you can do to help other people, to be kind to other people, to share what you have with other people, because that makes God happy. When you're giving up a little bit of your time or your energy or your toys or your things to give to somebody else, you're sacrificing. And that makes God happy when you're doing it for the right reason. And it spreads all over the place. First, I'm going to sing this to help you remember it a little bit. Then I'm going to show you something. But the tune of this, if you can just, do you know the song Old MacDonald? Old MacDonald had a farm. Okay, we're not going to sing Old MacDonald. We're going to sing Hebrews 13:16. "And do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is pleased." Hebrews 13:16. You think you can do it with me this time? "And do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is pleased." Hebrews 13:16. We'll come back to that in a minute. But I said I was going to do something that might get a little messy. Well, here we go. I'm going to move my Bible because I don't want to get anything on it. And I've got my Bible moved away. I've got some food coloring, some dish liquid, some Q-tips, a pan, and some milk. Now, let's say that the milk is the world or the neighborhood that you live in or the school that you go to or wherever you are around other people. Okay? That should do it. Okay. And we're going to take the food coloring. There we go. We'll get all four colors here. We're going to put a little right here. These are some of the people that you see every day or that maybe live in your neighborhood, that you go to school with, that you live with. Okay, and there's some green. And And we need a red too, okay. Now, we're going to take the Q-tip and put it in some dish liquid. Get good. This is you. When you do something kind, look at that. Look at that. How it begins to change, move around. It didn't stay. You did something kind for one person, but look how it spread all around, because that makes that person feel good and they want to do something for somebody else. But then when you go over here and do something good for this person, let me get some more. There we go. Get them a going. I've got a bubble in there that doesn't want to. There we go. There we go. You think this was a good idea to move over here? And what about you do something good for this person over here? And it takes a little while to get it going sometimes. But look how it's still, this one is still moving. You can see it's still moving here, but now that one is going. I've done something kind over here, and that person makes them feel good. So they're doing something kind for somebody else. And I've gone on and done something kind over here. That one is feeling good, so he's doing something. Look, he's beginning to go over to the green and to the yellow and do something for them. We can't leave yellow out, can we? We can't leave yellow out. There we go. Yellow doesn't show up quite as much, but we will see. And see how it all just continues to swirl and move and do all these wonderful things, because we're doing kind deeds for others, and that makes them want to do things for each other and help each other. And it's still moving here. That first kind thing we did is still causing that person to do other things for other people. And it's spreading all over. Look how this one has grown now. Yeah. And that one, they're all helping each other and helping to do kind deeds and to share. And that's what God wants. And that's what Barzillai did, isn't it? So let's do our verse once again. And do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. Hebrews 13:16. You think you got it? I think you probably do. One more time, just for good measure. And do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. Hebrews 13:16. If you have enjoyed your time with Bible time with Aunt Kat, be sure and ask Mom and Dad to subscribe on YouTube and to click the like button if you liked it, and share it with your friends, because that will help us to get more people to learn about God and to learn about these things. And if everybody knew how good Barzillai was as an example to us, to be kind to each other and to share with one another. And if we all started doing that, just think about how much better the whole world would be. So don't forget, subscribe, like, and share Bible Time with Aunt Kat. And I'll see you next time.